Topping today's news, countries in the region partnering to stem the flow of illegal firearms. More from the Prime Minister on the start of Climate Week in New York. A fire breaks out at Uriah McPhee Primary, and Prime Minister Davis says he'll let IRCA fight its battle between the Port Authority over who's the regulator for the power company. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News, and it's a pleasure to have you join us. With close to 90 murders recorded in the Bahamas so far this year, unless there is a drastic reduction over the last 3 months of the year, the number of homicides will likely surpass the 110 murders recorded in 2023. This week, the Bahamas hosting the 3-day Bahamas Institutional Roundtable meeting of the Caribbean Firearms Roadmap at the police headquarters, where staggering statistics regarding murders in the Bahamas and the wider Caribbean were shared by Wayne Munro, the Minister for National Security.
Of the region, firearms are being used in 70% of all homicides regionally. This figure is significantly higher than the global average of 30%, and rather disturbing considering that the Caribbean has less than 1% of the world's population.
The gathering of Caribbean countries, along with representatives from the United States and Canada, is meant to come up with renewed policies and plans to combat the proliferation of gun smuggling in the region. U.S. Charge d'Affaires Kimberly Furnish was also at the opening and says the U.S. is also concerned about the impact of illegal firearms in the region.
The United States shares the Caribbean's deep concerns about firearms trafficking negatively impacting their communities and recognizes the urgent need to address this issue collaboratively. Transnational criminal groups and drug traffickers continue to illicitly disseminate small arms and ammunition throughout the Caribbean, threatening our collective security, undermining regional stability, and driving irregular migration across the region. To help address the problem, the U.S. Department of Justice recently appointed a special coordinator for Caribbean firearms prosecutions, who's working closely with the CARICOM Crime Gun Intelligence Unit to better build U.S. prosecutions against illicit firearms traffickers.
Soledad Urella, director of the United Nations Regional Center for Peace, Disarmament, and Development in Latin America and the Caribbean, described the meeting among nations as being vital.
Through the discussion of each one of the roadmap's goals, targets, and priority actions, the Bahamas will be able to address the chain of firearms trafficking from multiple angles, promoting a common approach in future initiatives as well as a common framework to track progress collaboratively.
Meanwhile, according to Minister Munro, the Bahamas plans to adopt the Caribbean Firearms Roadmap along with 15 Caribbean countries, CARICOM states, that have already formally adopted the initiative. While addressing a global crisis of climate change during his speech at the Climate Week in New York City, the conference was held on Sunday. Prime Minister Philip Davis also highlighted changes the Bahamian people can expect to see while transitioning away from the use of fossil fuels and relying more on renewable energy.
The Bahamas NDC, for example, sets a goal of reducing greenhouse gases from 30% and transitioning to 30% renewable energy by 2030, a commitment we are pursuing with determined resolve. These commitments are not just rhetoric. They are the base for concrete, measurable action taking place right now in the Bahamas. We are transitioning away from fossil fuel dependence, prioritizing energy efficiency upgrades across our nation, installing utility-scale solar farms in our capital, and bringing hybrid grids online in our family of islands. This transition is not just about cleaner energy, it's about creating green jobs, fostering local expertise, and producing a more resilient infrastructure for the future.
The Prime Minister says our sun, seagrass, and oceans will play a major role in renewable energy for the future.
We are pioneering ocean thermal energy conversion, OTEC, harnessing the natural power of our ocean to provide clean energy, desalinated water, and even cooling. This groundbreaking technology, actively being piloted across 9 Bahamian islands, showcases the immense potential of nature-based solutions to address multiple facets of the climate crisis. We are aggressively protecting our vast seagrass meadows, one of the largest carbon sinks on the planet. We know how integral the carbon market is to climate mitigation, and we present the Bahamas as a leader for high-quality, verified carbon credits. We are developing a blue carbon methodology to leverage their full potential and are establishing a coral gene bank to preserve those critical ecosystems for generations to come.
Prime Minister Philip Davis says these avenues are not to show that the Bahamas is an exception, but as an example for a more cleaner future. Children around the country are just settling into classrooms after the summer break. However, students at the Uriah McPhee Primary School on Camp Road were dismissed early today and will possibly be out for a day or two after a fire broke out in one of their classrooms earlier today. According to the school officials, the fire appears to have been started by an electrical issue. However, it was confined to one of the uninhabited classrooms and was quickly diffused by staff members. Vice Principal at the school, Joyce Brown, shared this much with the media.
About 9 o'clock, I was alerted to the fire that started on the second floor by Mr. Farrington. He's a student practice teacher at our school with physical education. When he alerted me, I came downstairs. I directed the staff and students out of the building. We got to the parking lot in under 1 minute. Then we directed the children under the pavilion. The fire truck got here within 5 minutes. By that time, Mr. Farrington, along with Senior Mistress Ware and Robertson, they extinguished the fire, and the fire was put out, and then the fire truck went in. Now, the smoke spread because of the building, because it's air conditioned, it's fully air conditioned. And now the air conditioning man is here. He shut down the units and we opened all our doors and the smoke is out. Now, in speaking with the chief fireman, he told us that we will have to be out the building at least for 2 days. So we will have our children on the virtual platform where they will continue their learning.
For the fire?
Well, we know that in the back of grade 1, some books caught fire. They're investigating to see if it was an electrical problem at this time. So we're waiting on the investigation report.
Officials say there was no major damage to the school that recently received major upgrades before school began this year. And finally, in this segment, it's still not clear yet how many Bahamian troops or when they will be heading out deployed to Haiti, but the Kenyans have strengthened their forces as 600 more police officers from Kenya head to Haiti. Kenya has pledged to send the police officers in the coming weeks to help fight gangs controlling much of the capital, Port-au-Prince, and nearby areas. This would bring the Kenyan contingent to 1,000 police officers. The mission in Haiti is turning into a full-fledged UN peacekeeping mission. At least 1,900 more troops, including those from the Bahamas, will head to Haiti. Violence in Haiti is still rife, and a United Nations human rights expert has warned that gangs are targeting new areas, causing further displacement of people. The UN Security Council is due to meet by the end of the month to decide whether to renew Kenya's current mandate for another 12 months, paving the way for a full United Nations mission in 2025. You're listening to JCN News. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.